it's Paul Mash TV time again. Thank you so much for joining us again on another episode. We got a great interview coming up for you shortly. But before we begin, don't forget about that subscribe button and bell below you there. And anytime you click those, you'll always be notified of any new episodes. And leave a comment on the comment section if you like. We'd love to hear from you there. And we're on Facebook. So go to facebook.com/Paul Mash TV. And you can follow us and send us an inbox there, even comment the things you see there. And you can use email as well, obviously. It's paulmashtv, all one word, at gmail.com. And if you're a band or even a solo artist that's interested in being on the show, send us an email and we'll show you how to do that. But we love fan mail as well, so if you're just simply a fan, email us at that same address and we'll get back to you. And all this is going to be recapped at the closing credits at the end of the show, so stay tuned for that. From Wadsworth, Ohio, we have Dean Beaty with us. He's a great artist, and I know you're going to like him. And we'll get to that in a second, but here's a word from Galtar, the guitar made specifically for women. So don't go away. We'll be right back right after this.
Ready in 5.
Darling, when nothing else seems to match up. Galtar, the musical apparel that fits any outfit. Galtar, bringing heaven to earth, one gal at a time. GaltarHeaven.com.
Okay, we're back, and with us from Wadsworth, Ohio today, we have Dean Beaty, and we're glad to have you here, Dean.
Good morning, or good afternoon, sir. It's a pleasure to be on the show with you, and this is a first of its kind for me.
Yeah. Well, we're glad to have you here, Dean. Well, how did it all begin for you as far as that goes? I mean, have you always wanted to be a singer since you were a kid? Did it come much later? Is there something hidden that we don't know about? Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, it all started on December the 13th of 1972, and it's so lucid like yesterday. I was sitting downstairs and I was doing my homework, and my grandparents gave me a 1947 Victrola to listen to the radio on. It's like a big stereo speaker unit. And I learned how to move the dials, and I turned to this radio station called WKDD, and all of a sudden this guy by the name of Matt Patrick was playing some music. And then he introduced this guy, and he didn't say the name of the songwriter and the composer, but he turned around and played these two songs, and it was just phenomenal to hear them. And I got the phone book out and on my own and looked up the radio station and called in there, and he told me the name of the artist was Dan Fogelberg. And from there, I turned around and asked my dad if I could do some chores, my stepfather, to buy the album. And that was my first album, Netherlands. And he created this situation where I just wanted to write. And the music just amazed me. And, being 11 years old, that was over a half a century and some when it all started. And I just started writing and creating songs and poems and all kinds of different verses. And from there, all I remember doing and saying to everyone that I want to sing someday. Well, I didn't have any formal training. I did try choir once, but I was very nervous about being in front of people. And then next thing you know, I meet a gentleman from La Flavor, and his name was Craig DeBach. And I was 16 years old when I met him, and he was playing professionally all over Ohio here and all over the eastern United States. Then I met a couple other people, and then I met Michael Stanley in 1976 and kept all my work for many years private, because I just seeing everything going on and all the pirating and many other things and theft and plagiarism, it just kind of made me feel very apprehensive about sharing it with people. So I just shared it with family and friends. And then when I met Michael Stanley's wife, she turned around and said, Dean, you have a gift. You must share it with the world. And I said, how do I do that? And she said the words, learn. So from there, I just started contacting people, different radio stations all over the US and various sites that were available on the internet to try to find out how to get music and have music made for some of my stuff I couldn't do. And I picked up the guitar back after 32 years of not having anything because I had a major injury and it caused me to sell all my music stuff way back in high school. So all I know is for the past, about 13, almost 14 years, I've been trying to learn by myself all over again. And this is where I've come to this point where I've created 16 CDs professionally in Nashville and in Canton and Akron here where I live in Wadsworth. And from there, I'm trying to honor her words. You must share it with the world. And that was Denise Skinner was her name. She worked for Capitol Records. Mm-hmm. And then all I know from there is everybody has been liking it. It's got a country tinge to it. And the gentleman, Michael Lusk, he's a friend down in Nashville, and he sung with Loretta Lynn for almost 27 years before she passed. And now he's with, her sister. And all I know is he's just making a living making music, and it's phenomenal. And from there, I just work. I finish my work here as an engineer, and then I go into my music, and I travel to the studio here about an hour away from my house, and just go to write songs and share them with my production engineer, and he helps me make the music. And I've been doing that now for almost 13 years of the 14. And all I remember was the day she passed. It was a heartbreak back in 2011. And from there, I just decided, well, it's time for me to take my music and start sharing it with the world. And this opportunity here I have with you is another thing. And I'm happy to be able to do that. It's an honor. And I've got about 217 songs done and 80 more sitting in the bookshelf, just waiting to be refined. So it's one of those things that I'm not a young man anymore. So it's like, I'll just keep doing it until I can't do it anymore. It's that I tried to shorten it. I tried to make it real short for you.
Yeah. Well, that's all right. Yeah, that's quite a story, Dean. I'm glad that you're still doing this. Hopefully you have many years ahead of you. You mentioned Dan Fogelberg. Obviously, he was a big influence on you. Did you have any others that come to mind?
Well, actually, Keith Urban is another one I like. I like his style. And Phil Collins, way back in the 80s. And it's like my music tastes. I go from Tchaikovsky, Rachmaninoff, over to hip hop and even some punk rock and various other things. It's just one of those. I give a music a try, but if it's got any cussing and rampant stuff in it, I turn it off because it's just one of those things. Music should be created for artistic sake, not for all making noise. And there's some stuff that we all agree can be considered noise. So other than that, I try to maintain my objectivity and just give something a chance. And you're giving me a chance to play my music, and that's what's phenomenal there too. And here I am sitting upstairs in my bedroom in my studio. That's my music room, and I work up here too. So it's one of those things. And you have a similar atmosphere in your area too, I see.
Yeah, pretty much. But yeah, those are a couple great artists besides Fogelberg. Yeah, and I can definitely see that in your sound there. Well, anybody after watching this video, we're going to watch in a couple of minutes. They may want to go out and download your music or follow you on social media, or even if you have a website, they may want to check that out. Tell everybody how they can do all that.
Well, here's where all I know is I have my email that you have, and I don't have a website right now. that's something I've discussed with my production engineer that will be done. I'll figure that out down the road, probably next year. But I'm old fashioned. I have an email and I share MP3s is the way that I am comfortable with. And by sharing them via email, then I establish an open door like I've just done with you. And 3 of my songs I put on YouTube. So the best way to reach me is through my email that you have. And you're welcome to pass my phone number out if somebody is genuinely interested in, a mechanical license or singing it for their own profit. The important thing to me is to have a record to know, who's enjoying my work. That's all.
Okay. Well, just check out his video on, he's got 3 videos on YouTube, so just check that out on Dean Beaty, and I know he would love you for that. And I think we got this video coming up for you in just a minute. It's called Santa is Rockin'. It's a pretty good song, I think. I've heard it a couple times. What's the story behind this song? I'm sure everybody would love to hear that.
I was drinking coffee at a lounge one day, and I just decided, well, okay, I can do this or I can do that. I just decided to sit there and relax and watch people. And then I went to this place called Summit Mall in another town and saw Santa Clauses and everything else. And then all of a sudden, I'm like, why don't I give it a try at writing a Christmas song? This was written, I'd say probably, I'm guessing 18 to 20 years ago, but never did anything with it. And then I decided to just keep it simple. And that's another thing. I'm not being knowledgeable about how music is developed and refined. I just decided to keep it simple and add a little bit of a country sound to it. Then Michael did a fantastic job. And I sing my stuff too, but I'm just not, I've always been more comfortable with cover songs than I have been with my own originals. But there's people, Michael Luss got me on stage in 2016 and said, Dean, you got a voice, use it. So that's how I discovered how to sing pretty much on my own. And, I get a little nervous in front of people, but that's okay. But Santa is Rocking is just a contemporary type of a collection of verses to just allow people to just be comfortable is all it really amounts to, when you summate everything and just being comfortable with something that's
okay
like that. I'm kind of nervous about all this.
Oh, that's all right. Yeah, and I know everybody out there watching this is going to love it, and we're going to get to that in a second. But before we get to the song, I want to thank you so much, Dean, for coming on the show today. Come back anytime you want to plug something new. Maybe we'll have you back on sometime.
I appreciate that, too. And I thank you very much for your time, Paul. And may all of you who are listening to Paul, please know that he's a good man. He's playing music. And we all are trying to create smiles and touch the heart. Thank you all.
Well, I appreciate that. You made my day, Dean. And so without further ado, here's Santa's Rockin' by Dean Beaty, and it starts right now.
Here it's approaching, only a few days to go. That's wholesome like pure white snow. It's Christmas season filled with good reason that makes every Christmas tree glisten and glow. His song-filled sleigh has lots of gifts. It's heavy and sometimes Rudolph has fits. While rocking the lead to snap a snorting lift, they all soar into the sky with a rocking sip. Santa takes the reins as he warbles out a shout. He plays his guitar as it now rings out and strums to show what it's all about. And that's what it's all about. Santa is a rockin', do come a knockin'. Santa is a rockin', shaking every stocking. It's time to clear anything that could be blocking when you see Santa singing and soulfully rockin'.
Ho, 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 ho. Ho,
dancing and a ringing with bells in the nighttime sky. Santa is a rockin', do come a knockin'. Santa is a rockin', shaking every stocking. It's time to clear anything that could be blocking. When you see Santa singing, it's so full and rockin'. Santa is a rockin', do come a knockin'. Santa is a rockin', shaking every stocking. It's time to clear anything that could be blocking. When you see Santa singing, it's so full and rockin'. Santa is a rockin', yeah. Santa is a rockin'. Ho, 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 ho.